Hello again. On behalf of Astromatrix, my name is Marcel, and I'm here today to talk to you about the full moon in Gemini that is coming up on the 18th of December at 27 degrees. So before I dive into that, I'd like to ask, please, if you do enjoy our content, to like and subscribe to our channel, and then do stay connected to this reading, because at the end of it, I do a reading on behalf of the collective, which is related to the full moon in Gemini. All right, so the full moon happens when the sun and the moon are in opposition, and it's happening on the Gemini-Sagittarius axis. And so the axis is all about finding a balance between these two extremes, between two polarities. The full moon is a period of culmination. It is bringing the seeds that we've planted 2 weeks before on the new moon. It's bringing them into fruition. The seeds that were planted 2 weeks before was the last eclipse of the year, which was in Sagittarius. So this is the last full moon of the year in Gemini. And we currently have the transiting nodal axis. Over the last 18 months, it's been moving through Gemini and Sagittarius. So we have our last exploration of the Gemini theme for the year. So again, the full moon, it's not as intense as the eclipse, but it also has a potency because there are quite a lot of things that are happening. And as I mentioned, it is a period of bringing things into fruition or culmination or completion. It's also a period where things are revealed, highlighted. The moon is at its fullest, the light is shining the brightest. Things that we may not have seen before now become illuminated. So it's in Gemini, Sagittarius. And the Gemini, Sagittarius, they're both mutable signs, so it's a lot of change, a lot of dynamism, a lot of energy. It's not a time for sitting on your feelings, it's a time for expressing it. They both have an immense amount of energy to them, and they both operate on the mental realm, the mental axis. So the Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Mercury is known as the lower mind, and Jupiter is known as the higher mind. So the quality of Gemini very much has to do with exploration of logic. It has to do with communication. It's the mind, it's how we process information, it's our intellect, it's how it is that we express ourselves, how it is mentally that we have been conditioned. Sagittarius is a free-spirited sign that is very much about freedom and adventure. It's connected to the 9th house, so it's all about international travel. It wants to take itself out of its comfort zone and see what else is out there in order to expand its awareness. Therefore, it's the higher mind. So it's not things that you'll learn at school. You need to get out there and experience what else is out there in order to expand your knowledge, your wisdom, your awareness of reality. Gemini, however, is very comfortable with staying in its immediate environment, and Gemini generally refers to local travel. So considering that this is, it's Christmas season, it's holidays, it's entering into New Year's, this is a period of travel. So both of these planets do indicate travel. And as I mentioned, the ruler of Gemini is Mercury, and the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. So both of these planets are aspected in positive ways. The full moon is also a period of testing relationships. It's the masculine quality of the sun, the feminine energy of the moon. So it could be an internal dynamic that's been challenged within, but because it is in opposition, it often brings a situation from the external into our realities, and there's a potential tension that can play out. It's an aspect of opposition. It's two energies that are not on the same page. And the challenge with the full moon is to bring a balance between the Sagittarius and the Gemini axis, to find a middle ground. So alongside all of this, we do have some positive aspects, despite the fact that this can be a period of testing relationships. We do have some positive aspects. So Firstly, we have the Sun starting to come into a sextile with Venus, which is in Capricorn, and Pluto in a conjunction, a close conjunction to Venus in Capricorn as well. So this full moon happens on the 18th and the 19th, depending on where you are in the world. And then Venus, the next day, goes retrograde in Capricorn. So this takes the beautiful, positive, potential happiness that you experience within the relationship to a whole new level, and it enters it into testing grounds around relationships. It's a period where we go backwards and we're reviewing what love means for us, what our values are, our sense of aesthetics. So because it's in a conjunction to Pluto and because it's retrograde, it can intensify and amplify these feelings of passion and love. But Pluto is connected to secrets, and Venus is going retrograde, and is generally not considered a good time to fall in love because there's the chances that it won't work because it's not moving forward. So that's just one thing to mention off the bat, to be aware of during this period. If you are interested to find out more about the Venus retrograde video, we have created a video for that to find out more. Then we also have, so this Sun is in a sextile to the Venus and Pluto, which are coming into conjunction, which will happen the next day. And then we have both the Sun and the Moon in a positive aspect to Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius. So this brings travel, it brings expansion, it brings excitement. Jupiter is all about expansion and excitement and growth. So it possibly brings new ideas. This is a beautiful time to write something, a beautiful time to upgrade your website. It's an amazing time to go traveling because that Jupiter protects those energies. We then also have Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, in a harmonious aspect to Uranus. So this does indicate that we have the potential to experience positive ideas and inspiration with our thinking during this period. So if this is a family period, a lot of great ideas and inspiration can come through. Then we have the Moon in a square. It's a very wide square, but in a square nonetheless to Neptune. So the Moon is at 27 degrees, Neptune is at 20 degrees. And this can create some disillusionment. It can, depending on where the Moon lies, so which house the Moon lies in your chart, it's 27 degrees in Gemini. Have a look to see where the Moon lies and then look to see where Neptune is, and it'll give you a sense of what potential themes could be playing out during this period. So there's a lot of positive energies that are happening, and I feel that this full moon has a lot to do with relationships. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic ones, but there's a strong probability, especially because it is a full moon and because we have Venus going retrograde the next day. Venus does relate to finances as well, and the Sagittarius Gemini axis can also relate to information. Depending on which house they lie in, it could relate to your finances as well. So that square with Neptune can introduce something that may have started a few days before, when the moon, actually a day before, when the moon was in an exact square to Neptune. So something was initiated or potentially activated, which may come to the surface during the Venus retrograde, something just to be mindful of. Okay, well, I think that's about it. It's a period of lots of energy, and we're going to have a lot of energy during this period. And it's just, because Mercury is in Capricorn, even though it is in a trine to Uranus, it does bring an element of practicality and groundedness with all this mutable energy, which is flying around with Gemini and Sagittarius. So that is positive. Venus would be in Capricorn as well. So there is some stability to the mix. So as I mentioned at the end of each full moon reading, I'm going to do a tarot reading on behalf of the collective. And so I've got the cards here, I'm busy giving them a good shuffle, and we're going to explore what the full moon in Gemini has in store for us, the collective. What does the full moon in Gemini have in store for us as the collective? So I'm just giving these cards a good shuffle. On behalf of the collective, we're exploring what the full moon in Gemini has in store for us. Okay, so we have a card that's immediately fallen out. And for me, that kind of expresses the Gemini energy on the more impulsive end of the spectrum. So the Knight of Swords, it rules the mind. It connects to the realm of the mind. And it has to do with charging in with your ideas. It's really standing your ground with your beliefs or thoughts. But it can also be someone who blurts things out without thinking about the consequences. They're not a king yet. They haven't mastered their minds fully yet. They have strong ideas, but they are still immature in how it is that they relay that information. So this is talking about either slowing down or just being mindful before charging in. So let's see what else comes up in the reading. Alrighty. So what is the theme of the reading? What is the theme on behalf of the collective of this full moon in Gemini? Okay, I'm going to have to take it. This card wanted to fall out. It's the Lovers. So let's see what comes up. So the theme of this reading is the Lovers, which has to do with romantic relationships. Okay. So the first question that we're asking is, what is this full moon in Gemini? What does it want to reveal to us? What does this full moon in Gemini want to reveal to us? What does this full moon in Gemini want to reveal to us? Okay, interesting. It's another sword sign. It's the Eight of Swords. And it has to do with feeling trapped, unable to move forward, not seeing things clearly. And I'll go into more detail with it. Let's get more cards. So with regards to relationships, it wants to show us where we are trapped. So I just need to mention that the Sun is in Sagittarius and the Moon is in Gemini. And the Sun in Sagittarius wants freedom. The Moon in Gemini is, it's more intimate, it's more information-based. So there can be a tension between a part of you in relationships that feels stuck and wants to be free and wants to have adventure, versus the other part that is on some level committed or bound by the relationship. Okay, so this is what the full moon wants to reveal to us. So considering that it is about relationships, let's ask about the square to Neptune. What does the moon in Neptune want to reveal to us? And I have a card that's fallen out. We have the Ace of Swords. Again, swords ruling the mind. Okay. And then let's take a look and see what the Venus retrograde in conjunction with Pluto is wanting to reveal to us. What is the Venus retrograde in conjunction to Pluto wanting to reveal to us? Okay. So we have the Page of Pentacles. And this is Earth. It's an Earth sign, which Venus and Pluto in Capricorn is. It's an Earth sign. So it's about practicality, groundedness, and find. Well, let's go into the reading, seeing that we're here. Okay. So the theme of the reading is the Lovers. So we're exploring relationships here. We have the Lovers card. We did have the Knight of Swords, which fell out. So something to do with impulsiveness around relationships, charging in, saying things without fully thinking them through, okay? And this full moon wants to show us how this keeps us trapped, how it is that we're stuck in either stuck in situations that don't allow relationships to thrive, or how it is that we're stuck in relationships that don't allow us to thrive. Okay, so this Eight of Swords, it has to do with the mind. There's not a lot of water at the bottom there, so the emotions are dried up. They're not flowing in a healthy way. They're stuck. And this person feels trapped. They do not realize that they can actually move forward. Okay. So then I asked, what is the Neptune in a square to the moon wanting to reveal to us? So remember, the moon in Gemini is wanting us to explore relationships, one-on-one relationships. The Neptune squaring the moon is wanting us to, so this is a card of paradigm shift. It's a card of realization, new realizations, clarity coming through. And it's, again, the ruler of the mind. It's to do with swords. Swords have to do with the mind, logic, intellect. And so it's new clarity that is potentially coming through. Now, Neptune to the moon is in Gemini. Gemini is very curious. It's exploring lots of things. It's got a lot of energy. It's because it is the moon, it's the emotions. The emotions can potentially be all over the place. And the Neptune in a square to the moon can potentially create a little bit of fogginess, confusion, and sometimes this pushes us, because remember, the moon is it's the build-up. It leads to the full moon. And then there's the release. So oftentimes that clarity does not come through until a day or two later. So that's what the Neptune is bringing us. It's bringing us potential fogginess or confusion or disillusionment in order for us to really see the truth. And then lastly, the Page of Pentacles, which has to do with the Venus and Pluto, the Venus retrograde in a conjunction to Pluto. So it has to do with the earth, groundedness, stability, security, really reflecting on what it's planting new seeds, it's new ideas around what creates stability and has value and meaning in our life. So if we have been potentially charging into things that are not suitable for us or keep us trapped, then it's the paradigm shift that is needed in order for us to recognize really what brings us value in our life and what seeds we really want to plant. And the Venus retrograde in Capricorn, Venus is ruled by Taurus, and Taurus is all about values. And so we are next here moving into the transiting nodal axis is shifting into from Gemini, Sagittarius into Taurus and Scorpio, so it will be centered around the Taurus themes. I have created a video around the transiting nodal axis moving into Taurus and Scorpio, and I really, really do advise you to watch it. It will be very helpful in understanding how this full moon is the start of something, although it actually started with the full moon that recently happened in Taurus in November, but this is the start of where we're heading towards, and I feel that this full moon has to do with our relationships and where it is that we're not really aligning with what our values are. So I hope that shed some light on this situation, and I wish you all the best with this journey, and have a wonderful festive season, and stay grounded despite all the mutable energy that's flying around, the ideas, the excitement, and the exploration. Thank you so much for your support, and would love to hear which house this full moon falls in for you and how you think it may impact you, what's going on in your life. Wishing you all the best. Bye for now.